Hello and welcome to the MD is Bad podcast, where the name is misleading and the fans can't hear me. Today we have a very special episode where I will be answering every single question from you, the fans. I will be unrestricted, unfiltered, giving you my brutally honest thoughts on this series, on these characters, and on your opinions of the series. Before we get into that, please like, subscribe, and your goal today is to share this episode of this podcast wherever you can, on some kind of Murder Drones related forum or page, somewhere where other fans of Murder Drones gather together. Share this with them, get the word out. I want more questions. I want to do a part 2 to this. So please ask me as many questions as you can in the comments of this episode, and I will get to them as soon as possible. But for anyone who doesn't know, on my community page here on YouTube, I made the following post. Ask me any question about Murder Drones. I'll answer in my next podcast. So far, we have 57 comments. I will be getting to all of them as fast and as thoroughly as possible. Starting with, if you could change anything in the original Murder Drones storyline, what would you change? In parentheses, also big fan, love your work. Thank you, Board of Berries too. I also love my work. I will say, I would not change a single thing about the original Murder Drones storyline. This is true. I know it's not perfect. It's got plot holes, but hey, I wouldn't have, my channel if it weren't for those plot holes. You have to understand, and this goes for every single series out there, everything you're nostalgic for, it was written by imperfect people. And as such, it has imperfections. Those imperfections can be detrimental to the series, or they can add to the charm of it. I think that the original Murder Drones storyline is fine for what it is. It's not perfect, but dang it if I didn't enjoy the heck out of it, which I do. Those are my thoughts on the original Murder Drones storyline. Great question. The next one comes from Helium Jalot. Apologize if I get any of the usernames wrong here. I'm going to do my best to say them. What are your 3 favorite ships and why? Okay, I know this person is referring to ships as in characters being shipped together, and an Uzi being the canon example here. That being said, Helium did not specifically say show ships. The question reads, as you just heard, what are your 3 favorite ships and why? So I will be taking this literally because I'm a pill like that. And I will start with the Titanic. Rest in peace to everyone who lost their lives on that incredible vessel. Well over 100 years now since the Titanic sank. It is a classic, arguably one of the most iconic examples of humanity's hubris and how quick we are to let our pride dictate our actions and our reasoning. We refuse to be logical in moments when it can cost people their lives. And the Titanic is arguably one of the greatest examples. Second only, I would say, to maybe the Trojan horse. But the Titanic is a little bit closer to our time at the time of recording, 2025. And I believe that it's a fascinating thing, not only in its construction, not only in the tragedy that befell it, not only in the conspiracies around it, and the very interesting roster of people who happen to be on the Titanic, not only in its mismanagement, but the fact that it's still there. And there are people who are still studying the Titanic, still studying the remains that are down there at the bottom of the ocean. I just think the whole thing's fascinating. And seeing what the ocean has done to what was once considered the pinnacle of human intervention, I mean, it just shows how little we know and really how small we are. But there's nothing wrong with that. That's my first favorite ship. My second favorite ship is probably the USS Enterprise. I know that Star Trek is a shadow of its former self, and it's really hard to be a Star Trek fan these days. But I mean, I love what Star Trek represents. It is campy, it is cheesy, but the fact that it is one of the few shows out there that shows the best version, arguably the best version of our future, a sort of utopian future where we're all about exploration. It's not about the military-industrial complex. Sure, the people in Star Trek, the characters can still defend themselves, and sure, the USS Enterprise has guns on it, but ultimately it's so hopeful. I love that. I love hopeful series that have happy endings, like Murder Drones. And I really like that. So the USS Enterprise is definitely my second favorite ship of all time. As for my third and final favorite ship of all time, I'd have to say Uzi and N. I think they're a great couple, and honestly, they deserve to be together. Great question, Helium. The third question comes from Doodle Darko, who says, besides your own series, of course, what is your favorite Murder Drones AU? I will say the analog horror series, Murder Drones Annihilation, huge shout out to that show. I think we're only a couple episodes deep, maybe just one episode. I haven't checked in a while, but it's a fantastic series. Analog horror lends itself very, very well to almost everything that exists. If it exists, you can probably turn it into an analog horror series. And honestly, Murder Drones lends itself very well to that genre. So huge shout out to the creators of Murder Drones Annihilation, I believe is what it's called. Great, great series. Absolutely check it out. The next question comes from Yagster. Yes, that Yagster, who comments, questions really, why is Braden the GOAT? Fire emojis. I will say Braden is the greatest of all time because if you didn't know, he's actually a perpetual, which means he will be returning in the near future when I can't say. I'm not at liberty. I am sworn to secrecy over the matter, but just know that any character that can survive the Hades treatment, and by that I mean, having your head constantly, be on fire and not really be bothered by it. I mean, of course, the guy's, like I said, he's a perpetual. He will be back in the near future, and there is an argument to be made that he saved the entire universe, but more on that in the future. I've already said too much. They're coming for me. I am very happy. Don't believe the lies. Anyway, Cool Gamer Tag 533 asks, do you think the idea of Tessa somehow reviving in some way in a drone body or recovering control of her real body if it didn't melted would be a good plot idea? It's a great idea for like a fan comic, and it's been done many times by many wonderful artists and storytellers in the Murder Drones fan community. Tessa is one of the most beloved side characters in the show, but she is a side character. So please bear that in mind when you think of Tessa. She served her point, her purpose. She is a plot device, and her story is absolutely tragic. And the fact that people are still writing what-if stories about her shows how well she was presented, and I like that. I like the idea of her getting a drone body or recovering control in some way, but it's just not going to happen, guys. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Tessa's storyline is done. It's taken care of. That being said, if you want to see examples of this, there's so many good comics out there, so much good fan art. You can definitely see the love for Tessa shown there. But her story is thoroughly and completely done. Tragic, but conclusive. The next question comes from rhenvow2844. From a writer's perspective, there's two questions here, by the way. From a writer's perspective, which episode would you say is the strongest? For anyone who doesn't know, I have written a couple books. They're available on Amazon right now. American Nexus, if you're a fan of isekai and parodies of that genre, then please check it out. It is, instead of the character going to some European medieval fantasy world full of beautiful characters and fantastic powers, instead the main character ends up in an alternate version of the United States. In modern day times, there's still magic, there's still monsters, but our main character ends up as president of the United States. Hilarity ensues. So if you want to see that take on the isekai genre, American Nexus, it's on Amazon. Please check it out. The third and final book is getting edited as we speak. As a writer, I would say the best episode as far from a writing perspective. So something that not only ties into the other episodes, but also has its own beginning, middle, and end. Excuse me. I think my favorite episode, again, through those criteria, looking at things from that perspective, it would have to be, I want to say it's episode 4, the camp episode. I love that episode. It's done very, very well. It's very reminiscent of those of those 80s slasher films, horror movies, where there's a monster, you don't know who's going to live, who's going to die, but it's through the lens of murder drones. There's lore drops, there's continuation from the previous episodes. You can see the animation quality in the camp episode specifically. It skyrockets. It's so beautiful to look at. The characters are so lifelike. You can hear the little... Okay, I'm going to get a little specific here. There's a moment when Uzi is thinking back to when she spoke to her dad before going on this field trip. And her dad says, Khan says something to the effect of, "What a catch," in reference to Uzi's mom. And Uzi just like is looking at him and blinks, and there's very subtle details there. You can hear the sound effect of her blinking, her facial expression. Everything about that episode is like that. And plus, I mean, we don't get a lot of costume changes for the characters. In fact, I think we only get 2, where N and V are dressed up like camp counselors, and they pull those looks off so well. In fact, I don't know for sure, I think that's the only case where one of the Murder Drones characters is wearing pants as well, or both of the characters are wearing pants. Their normal outfits don't include pants, if you weren't aware. Inside joke for Murder Drones fans that the characters never wear pants. But yeah, you got me off on a tangent here. I love that camp episode. It's so much fun, and it has a great beginning, middle, and end. And plus, Lizzie gets the chance to shine as well. So that's what I would say the strongest being. That being said, episode 8, I absolutely love it. I know some people don't, but I love episode 8. Close second. The second question that Henval asks, what do you think of Doll's character arc and where it led? I think it serves its purpose perfectly. In fact, when I was asked to do a Doll like one-off episode called Postmortem, it is available on my YouTube channel right now. You should definitely check it out. It's more simple than an average Murder Drones MD Season 2 episode, but it does its job pretty well. I think that Doll's character arc has been fulfilled. She serves her purpose well. She's sort of a foil to Uzi, a what if, where we get to see that even though Khan isn't the best parent in the world, he's arguably one of the worst, he's still a source of stability for Uzi, where if she didn't have that stability and she uncovered the Solver's powers or curse really before the events of the show, chances are she would have turned out exactly like Doll, arguably worse. And Doll serves her purpose. She's supposed to help the characters get from point A to point B. She helps reveal the influence of the Solver. She's like I said, a foil to Uzi, and her end is sudden and tragic, but it sets up the real danger of the show, that being sin. So those are my thoughts on Doll. Absolutely check out the Postmortem episode. It should be in the Murder Drone Season 2 playlist as well, if you want to find it. The next question comes from my good friend, cameraman YT Chaos and Animation, who says, by the way, this is an individual who helps me with Murder Drone Season 2. Any of those animated sequences you see that have that very distinct 3D style, that's cameraman YT Chaos and Animation. So this individual asks, where is the Khan FNAF reference? It's there. You just have to look for it. Where's the Uzi bite me scene where her finger actually gets bitten? No spoilers, but it's coming soon. After Season 2, will you be doing any more Murder Drones stuff? As of now, I'm planning on it, but it really depends on all of you. What do you guys want to see next? There's a lot of options for me. I have other things that I am planning on doing as well before the end of Murder Drone Season 2. I would like to start doing episodes where I read my story, American Nexus, to you guys, give you a little idea of what I'm capable of when I'm not doing Murder Drone stuff, where it's 100% original. I'd love to show you guys that. But yeah, the future is uncertain, but I am not planning on leaving Murder Drones anytime soon. In fact, I plan, as of now, on being the last guy standing, so to speak. I plan on doing Murder Drone stuff until my voice goes out, whenever that is, and I finally expire. So keep an eye out for that. There's so much you can do with those characters in that storyline, and I plan on doing a lot going forward. glitch willing. Are cats okay as well as dogs? I think cats are great, but so are dogs. Dogs can be loud. Cats can be annoying. Dogs can bite you. Cats can bite and scratch you. I think that they're both great. They're both great for different reasons, but personally, my choice of pet, if I could have anything in the world, and this is going to sound very strange, I would have a capybara. That would be my pet of choice. They poop everywhere. They're giant gerbils, but capybaras are great. Not harmless, but they're great. Are cats secretly running the dog planet's government? No. If you watched the second Cats vs. Dogs movie, you would know that. Thank you, cameraman YTKS in animation. Always love hearing from you. The next one is from Upmost2766. Thoughts on Mr. Dorman? I assume this person is referring to Khan. I think that Khan is an awesome character in his own right. I love that we get to see a glance of him taking charge in episode 8. He steps up to the plate. He's using Uzi's railgun. He's ready to go. And I think he's a great source of comedy. And I definitely cannot wait to show you guys episode 7 of Murder Drone Season 2, which I finished writing this morning, right before I started recording this. So keep an eye out for that, especially if you're a voice actor or an artist currently helping me bring it to life. Eclipse Venus X asks, what kind of advice would you wish to give to other writers trying to share their narrated content on YouTube? This is such an awesome comment or question here. And I wish more people would ask it more often because I have a lot of advice. I'm not the penultimate source of knowledge by any means, but I do have a little bit of experience with this. And I would say the best advice I can give you is to get out there and do it. Stop putting it off. Do it right now. Maybe after you've finished listening to this podcast episode. But seriously, if you have an idea, put yourself out there. One man goes and fishes, the other stands and wishes. Which one do you think catches all the fishes? It's that classic saying there. You have to go out there and try it. If you have an idea, bring it to life. Don't worry about if other people are going to like it, if it's going to do well. Just put it out into the world, okay? Add that to your digital footprint. It will open doors that otherwise would be closed. You have my guarantee on that. That's my best piece of advice. And second piece of advice here. I just have 2, and then I'll move on. Stop assuming that your work isn't good, or on the flip side, that it's the best thing ever and it's going to get you so much attention and praise. It's just a story. Put it out there into the world. Other people are probably going to enjoy it. Some people probably aren't. Don't worry about that. Just put it out into the world. Make it. The sooner you make it, the sooner you can stop worrying about it. Those are my pieces of advice here. No one's going to make it except you, so get started. This next comment or question is from Loud Void, one of our incredible artists working on MD Season 2. What is one of your biggest struggles with creating the series? And on the flip side, what is some of the easiest/favorite things you've had to do? Well, let's start with the first part there. One of my biggest struggles with creating the series has just been learning to work with other people. I'm a very self-reliant person. I have the ability to do everything myself. You can see that with episodes 1 and 2 of Murder Drone Season 2 and some of my other content. I am someone who doesn't like working within a system, generally speaking. But Murder Drone Season 2, seeing all of these volunteers step up and be like, hey, I can do art. I want to do art for the series. And other people saying, I can voice act. Do you want me to voice act for this series? And just being swarmed by all of these incredible creatives who, for the most part, everyone's just looking for a shot. And the fact that I can, in a very small way, provide that shot, give you the opportunity that I never got. And that's part of the reason I think why I'm so determined to be self-reliant, because I started on the internet as an artist that never got the attention I wanted, never got the time of day. I did everything. I did art trades. I drew people's profile pictures during live streams, everything, and just never got where I wanted to go. Not to say that people were rude or ignored me. I just never picked up steam. But there were a couple times where I asked to work on things, where I asked to be a part of something and was just completely ignored or flat out told, sorry, we don't want your help. And I determined in those early days, this is in like 2018, 2019, I was like, all right, fine, I'll do it myself. I'll take the little red hen approach. And I've been that way ever since. But Murder Drone Season 2 has finally gotten me to start opening up again, to start giving people a shot, giving people the chance to help me, no longer trying to like shoulder everything myself. And that's been hard because not only am I working with other people's talents and abilities, which aren't the same as my own, I also have to, work with other people's schedules and give people time to create things. And it's a lot of managing and being at the center of everything. So that's been the biggest struggle so far, is just learning to work with other people and not their weaknesses necessarily. I understand when other people struggle with whatever. Real life gets in the way. That's totally fine. It's working with their strengths. That's the hard part. I guess it comes down to like pride and not being a very trusting person. So it's nice to be able to open up. So thank you to everyone that's volunteered to help, because you've helped me come out of my shell a little bit. So I appreciate that. And what are some of the easiest / favorite things I've had to do? Okay, easily. It's the process of writing something and then showing it to the artists and the voice actors and seeing them depict it. That is so satisfying because, I have an image in my head of what I'm creating, but seeing it come to life through someone else's blood, sweat, and tears, and seeing them put so much effort in every single case into bringing something to life. There's nothing like it, man. It's the coolest experience in the world. But what's even cooler than that is knowing that they're just as passionate, if not more passionate about something than I am. And I just love that. I love that so, so much. So that's great questions there, Loud Void. Love hearing from you. The next one's from AK Animations, who is also one of our incredible artists, and I think a voice actor as well. Sorry, I get everybody. There's a lot of people helping at this point, so I apologize if I get anybody mixed up. AK Animations, OG fan, though. I think one of the most vocal fans of MD Season 2. This individual asks, if you could delete any Murder Drones episode, which one would it be? None of them. I love them all so much. Like I've said previously, I can't imagine Murder Drones any different from how it currently is. Great question, AK Animations. The next one is from Devin Noob. How big of an impact do you think it would have made in the original series if V was the protagonist instead of Uzi? Oh, what a good question. Okay. The show would have been completely different. I know that was the original plan, and I think Liam Vickers and Glitch have confirmed that originally V and N were supposed to be the main duo, and but Uzi grew on them to such a degree, they're like, actually, we're going to make Uzi the main character, and I'm glad they did. I think they did an excellent job for that. If V was the main character, though, I think the series would have been a lot more tear-jerking. I mean, Uzi's got her tear-jerker moments for sure, but I think it would have been so much more emotional. And this isn't I'm not slamming the character whatsoever, but just V's backstory is arguably way more tragic than Uzi's is. It's not a competition, everybody's a loser, get over it. But V, I would say, her character and like coming to terms with who N is to her and what she's done to him and what's been done to both of them, I think it would have just been way more, I don't want to say impactful. It definitely would have, tugged at the heartstrings a little bit more and arguably would have made her sacrifice all the worse if the sacrifice even took place. I assume it would. I just see it being a little bit more of a DeviantArt kind of story, if you know what I mean, for better or for worse. Great question. The next one comes from Widow Dragons with a Z. Who's your favorite character and why? I like Jay. I wouldn't say she's my favorite character, though. My favorite character is, without a shadow of a doubt, it's got to be Flash. Flash is the Sentinel. I think that, he just has so much to say. And there's so many wonderful insights that Flash provides. Of course, you have to speak Sentinel in order to understand what he's saying. But I think that Flash is the greatest character in the show, second only to Braden the Perpetual. But yeah, Flash is my favorite character because he's terrifying, but he also has a bit of a soft side to him. And remember, the Sentinels aren't actually animals. They only act that way. So, bear that in mind. The next question is from I Want a Chinchilla and Coffee, Please. Do you think Jay deserved more screen time or more storyline for her? I don't. I think that Jay serves her purpose well. She is the bozo of the series. And I mean that wholeheartedly. She is the hired muscle, the team rocket. She loses. I think this was put best by, oh crap, I'm spacing on his name. The gentleman that reviews Murder Drones and Murder Drones fan content. He just did an episode on Murder Drones Season 2. I cannot believe I'm blanking on his name. He's a most excellent individual. I'm not going to look it up here, but yeah, Jay lost. Jay lost everything. She chose wrong. She chose to side with the characters that seemed to be the strongest. Whoever the boss was, she was going to follow. And yes, you could make the argument that she was concerned with Tessa, that she liked Tessa, although there's not a lot of evidence to show that. In fact, if anything, there's evidence to show the opposite of that Jay is just putting up with whoever's in charge, and she'll do whatever she's asked because that's the corporate way. Whoever the boss is, you do what the boss says. And maybe someday you become the boss, but corporate is a cutthroat environment. And I know it's difficult for anyone who hasn't been in corporate to realize that, but yeah, Jay is the bozo of the series. She got what she deserved, and I think she has just as much screen time as she needs. That being said, we do put Jay in an interesting scenario for MD Season 2, and we will find out soon enough if Jay, a character like that, who is convinced that the corporate way is the only way, we will soon find out if a character like that can change. More on that soon. Great question. Next one is from Kelly81974. Hopefully that's not your zip code. Who's your favorite character in Murder Drones? Already mentioned this, but it has to be Khan. Khan is a great character because he's competent. He's a goofy character, but he makes hard decisions. I'm completely serious when I say if there's one character that I would want on my side in a zombie apocalypse, it's Khan, because not even family is enough to get him to compromise on survival. Yes, it's brutal. No, I don't personally agree with it, but hey, at least I know if I'm in a zombie apocalypse and I get bitten, Khan is willing to put me down without asking any questions. And that is really all I ask. Thank goodness zombie apocalypses aren't real. Anyway, interesting character there. Interesting question as well. The next one is from Inspector Post 7332. What's your favorite Murder Drones character and why? Well, I'm glad you asked. This is a question I've been thinking about for quite some time here. It's probably Nori. Nori is only in the series for a little bit of time, but there's so much room. You can explore so much with this character. I mean, she was there from the start. She was experimented on. She was arguably the most stable, yet the most unstable. That's how Uzi was able to be, she has her quirks, don't get me wrong, but of everyone involved in that program, you look at Yeva, you look at Alice, Nori came out on top, and Uzi by extension. And plus, she scored Khan, the second best character in the series. My second favorite character, as I've said. So it has to be Nori. Also, the idea of a little Nightcore listening crabcore thing running around in a hard hat with a pickaxe in the mines, just looking for anything that she can use to hopefully help herself and her kid. I just think it's very charming. And also, I believe Zubul from the Amazing Digital Circus, I believe her voice actress is the voice actress for Nori as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know that voice actress's name off the top of my head, but yeah, absolutely wonderful. This next one is from Drone Theory, the ever reliable Drone Theory. If you ever see the very distinct looking artwork that gets featured in MD Season 2, it's probably Drone Theory's. This individual asks, what is your favorite episode? That's a tough one. I mean, I know I already talked about my favorite episode, or at least the one with what I think is the best writing. Just from like a fan perspective, I like episode 8 a lot. Again, I know a lot of people don't, but episode 8 brings everything to a neat little close. We get happy endings for the good guys, justified endings for the bad, and we get to see the characters living their best lives as much as possible. I really like that episode. I think it has the best action in the series. And yeah, the music's the best by far in episode 8. But I could go on, but I won't. I like episode 8 quite a bit. The Actual Wizard asks, how did you find and get into murder drones? I remember in the days before the Amazing Digital Circus, murder drones was the Amazing Digital Circus of its day. It was huge. When that pilot dropped, I remember it getting recommended everywhere. And at first I was like, no, that looks stupid. What is that? I'm not going to waste my time on some, DeviantArt, Tumblr, whatever animated thing from Newgrounds. I don't care about that. I was very cynical about it. And then I actually watched it and it was the greatest thing ever. And I was like, holy crap, this is it. This is the proof we've been waiting for. This is proof you don't need to move to New York or LA. You don't need to work with Hollywood if you want to create something awesome. There have been countless other indie animated projects and shows, but Murder Drones changed everything. And that first episode, that was what did it for me. I love it. It was amazing. It was amazing. Great question there, The Actual Wizard. The next question is from Totally Not a Ghost, who is the voice actress for Tessa in MD Season 2. What if Tessa, how fitting, was actually the mimic from Five Nights at Freddy's, Secret OD, the mimic backrooms at 3 a.m., Among Us, Do Not Call This Number at 2 a.m., or Jackie, Secret of the Freaking Mimic, will appear and do Fortnite dances, real, not clickbait, Khan and Nori will make out at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, capitalism. What the heck did you just say? What if what if Tessa is actually the mimic? Tessa is not the mimic because Five Nights at Freddy's and Murder Drones, as of now, do not exist in the same universe. That being said, if you want to write that story, go right ahead. Always love hearing from you, Totally Not a Ghost. The next one is from Mr. Marshmallow Boy. Is my Murder Drones fan episode canon? No. However, it is cool and I'm glad you made it. Will we see more of Armstrong? Yes. Bet on it. This one's optional. What would happen if the Annihilation drone met Armstrong or the rest of the cast? Thad, Lizzie, Nori, etc. And how would you think they'd act? This is a great question here. So, the Annihilation drone would put up a heck of a fight. But you have to remember, the Annihilation drone is still a drone, and therefore has, as far as we can tell, the same weaknesses that the other drones have. So I remember the Sentinel's whole job, not just Armstrong, but Sentinel's whole job is to kill and exterminate drones, and they are very good at it. They're well equipped to bring that to life. And I don't, as powerful as the Annihilation drone is, Armstrong is literally created to snuff drones out, even drones that bear the Solver's powers. So I don't think the Annihilation drone wins. That being said, I don't think Armstrong wins by much. It would be an interesting bout, to be sure. Bagel is Fredakis, interesting username, asks, how will you feel if Glitch Productions or Liam Vickers tells you that your season 2 will be official? It's never going to happen, not in a million years. That being said, I'm 100% open to the idea. I would love to collaborate with Glitch and Liam Vickers in some capacity. I don't know what that would look like as of now, if it'd be Murder Drones related or not. I have a lot of ideas. I'm planning on bringing them to life in some capacity or another. It's just a matter of time. I would love to work with them. I don't foresee them taking my season 2 and adapting it. It would be really cool if that happened. The writing would have to be changed. I do think there would have to be some pretty big adjustments, but I can see it happening in an alternate world, but in our reality, I don't think it's going to happen in a million years, but it would be cool. We can wish, we can hope. The next one is from Rosie. What is your least favorite episode and why? That's a good question. I think my least favorite episode is probably the Mansion episode, just because I remember when it came out, it was like, okay, we're doing a flashback episode. That's cool. And the Mansion thing just didn't make sense to me. I know it's done because it's just what they thought was cool, and it is, but I don't know. I wish it was a little bit more technological, if that makes sense. Like at least, I know they have phones and stuff, but I don't know. It's just the environment. I do still love that episode. I love the jokes are so solid in that episode too. And I mean, we got Crow Uzi out of it. So, I mean, what's there not to love? I just think that the setting is a little bit strange, but the characters are great. I like it. And of course, it's Tessa's time to shine. So absolutely love that. Great question, Rosie. The next one is from Horhao TZE Az. Interesting username. Who do you think was the most wasted character besides Jay? I don't think Jay was necessarily a wasted character, but I do think that, I don't know, as far as wasted characters go, maybe Flash the Sentry. I don't know what else you could do with Flash necessarily, but I don't think his character was wasted. Maybe Thad and Lizzie. I feel like they could have done more with them. I'm not sure what. I am doing a lot with them in MD Season 2, as you guys may be aware, but I think that, yeah, it's toss-up between Flash and Thad and Lizzie. That being said, I don't think they're wasted. I just think there is more room to do more with those characters and maybe give them a little bit more depth. Well done, Horhao. H-O-R, by the way. The next one is from Channel Leong 2192. What happened to all the cores after episode 6? I assume you're referring to the cores that were left behind that Alice and Bo had collected. As far as what happened to them, I assume they're still fine. I mean, there's cores that have the solver's abilities, so I don't think it's that crazy to assume that they're fine. They're still chilling in their ammonia or whatever concoction that they're currently being kept alive in, if they're alive at all. If they're dead, they're dead. But if they're alive, chances are they could have broken out at some point, and who knows what'll happen with them in the future. But yeah, I assume that's what happened to the cores. They're still down there, or maybe they've gotten out, and who knows, maybe a couple of them even figured out a way to escape the Sentinels. That being said, we don't have a canonical way for cores to get new drone bodies. I've addressed that in Murder Drone Season 2, and you'll see more of that in the coming episodes for Showa. But yeah, I think the cores are still down there for now. Anyway, next one is from I Don't Know Anymore B7S. What is an aspect of Murder Drones you really like? The characters. I love the characters of Murder Drones. I love that they're so easy to understand, yet they can have so much depth if you look far enough for it. Case in point, N and V specifically. Great question there. The next one is from GT Smithers 9A37. Can we see V have more interactions with Thad? Yes, we can. I don't want to get your hopes up, though. They're not an item. I hate to squash your ships if that's one of yours that you've got. V and Thad are fine. I don't foresee them pairing up in particular. I don't think V has any interest in any of the worker drones, if that makes sense. I think V is more interested in just living her life. But that's just my take on the character. You're welcome to interpret the character however you want. The next one is from @The Productions, who is also someone that's worked not only on Murder Drone Season 2, but a couple of other awesome projects that you should definitely check out their YouTube channel if you'd like to see more on them. But The Ghoul Productions asks, what's your favorite part of Murder Drones? Character, story, etc. This is a great question. I love that Murder Drone Season 2 is so easy to understand. And once you realize that Murder Drones is not trying to be anything more than a series for like teenagers, it's a very specific age range that Murder Drones appeals to. And I think it does a beautiful job of that. Once you understand that, the story gets so much easier to enjoy. And suddenly you realize how far the writers and showrunners went to bring that element of the storytelling to the forefront. I love it. It's great. Great question. The next one is from Blazing Light 0595. What thematic and environmental inspirations from books, movies, games, TV, etc. do you commonly incorporate into your writing, and how do those ideas shape your approach to MD Season 2? That is the most professional question I think we've gotten so far, and it's a great one. As far as inspiration goes, it can literally be from anywhere. That being said, I am very, very careful about not taking someone else's idea and just doing it with a different coat of paint. I understand that mimicry is the greatest form of flattery. That being said, being original is so awesome and not hard for me specifically. That's why I don't use AI. I like to be as original as possible. And my biggest sources of inspiration, if I had to pick one off the top of my head, is probably music. I listen to music from bands like, oh, come on, don't. Okay, I've got it pulled up here. Let me look here. I like Zoidland. I like Kenya Grace. Assumptions by Sam Gelatry. Dr. Ian, or DPR Ian, is great as well. You've definitely heard some of his music before. And of course, Wham and Last Dinosaurs. Absolutely love those guys. My favorite artist of all time is probably Madeon. If you don't know who Madeon is, definitely check the man out. He's a French EDM artist, and he does some great, great stuff. But I love listening to music. It just gets me in the mood, you know? I've got such a cinematic imagination, and the music just carries my ideas forwards, and it makes it easier for me to adopt them. So great question there. But yeah, I hope I answered your question with that. The next one is from the legendary Finley S., who is an incredible artist. I love Finley's artwork. If you haven't checked it out yet, please do. The username is Fin-M9D. Incredible artist. Very distinct style. If you could bring back one of the dead characters, who would it be and why? I think I've already said this, but I would probably bring back Tessa. Tessa first, maybe Doll second. I like Tessa because there's a lot of potential with that character. And I can just imagine like the horrified look on her face when she realizes that not only can she not breathe on Copper 9, but she also, like, her beloved creations that she tried to give a second chance to have been turned into murder machines. And I see retribution in her future. A Doll would be funny to bring back, because if she did come back, which she won't, but if she did come back, it would be it would be very funny to force her to speak English and just to have it drive her crazy. I don't know. I think there's a lot I could do with that. I won't, though, because again, those characters they've had their arcs. They're cut and dry. But just my opinion there. Great question. Always love hearing from Finn. The next one is from Elsa, who is an incredible artist who, like me, does her own artwork and covers for the books that she writes. Elsa Louise Singer, check her out. Her books are on Amazon. They're great. Her question is actually not MD related, but I'm going to answer it anyway. Where is Sylveon? We need answers. So, if you're not up to date on your professor lore, I used to be a Pokemon professor. I still am. I host an entire convention in Texas called PokeFest. So I am still a Pokemon professor, but I'm definitely doing more MD-related stuff as of recently, because it's what you guys want, and it's what I want to do. But I have a life-size, actually bigger than life-size, Sylveon plush. It is currently trapped in the corners of my closet. I am in the middle of moving, and until I move, she's unfortunately going to be stuck back there. But oh, what a wonderful day it will be when I finally move and I can get all my stuff out. So that's where Sylveon currently is. Maybe if I get enough comments related to it, I can bring her back out. But that's a pretty big maybe, because she is buried. Next up here, we've got, we're starting to get into the more unhinged questions, but I'll go ahead and address them here. This is from creator-Z3T. Not exactly what you're expecting probably, but is there any way I can join the MDS2 team? Great question. You actually can. I'm not currently looking for voice acting, but I am always down to bring on artists for MD Season 2. If you want to do art for this project, if you want to, maybe get on a bit of a bigger platform than what you're currently on, then by all means, I will bring on everyone I can to this project. There's no limit to the amount of artists that can be on MD Season 2. That being said, there is a legal disclaimer that I give to all the artists and voice actors alike. It basically says, I can't remember it word for word, but basically, I reserve the right to include or not include everything that's contributed with or without notifying the people involved. Basically, I can edit my videos how I want. Just because you make something doesn't mean I am going to incorporate it. That being said, I can't think of anything that's been made that I haven't incorporated in some capacity. I'm sure there's something out there, but generally, if you make it, it's going in the episode. But just for my own protection, I guess, I reserve the right to edit my videos as I see fit, and my writing and everything. So, yeah, creator, the easiest way to be a part of MD Season 2 is to make some artwork, do some fan art, whatever it might be. It helps if it's of MD Season 2 specifically, and just tag me in it. And then if I like what I see, which I always do, then I'll message you on Discord and I'll give you the disclaimer and we'll get you on board and I'll get you a prompt. I just finished writing episode 7, so there's a lot of room for a lot of art, and I would love to bring it there. Bonus points if you can animate and flip a clip or something like that. I love little animations. They're adorable, and they enhance the videos so much. So that's generally how you do that. Feel free to reach out to me at any point. I do primarily contact people through Discord. The next one is from Astrosta. Which Murder Drones episode do you like the most? I've already answered that one, so I am going to skip past it because we're already at the 45-minute mark. So, yeah, see further in this episode for that answer. I like them all for different reasons. But yeah, great question, though. Thank you for asking it. The next one is from Peyton Bush N601. Okay, how many questions are there? It looks like there's a lot. Okay, there's 3. There's 3. Wow. Okay, these are getting unhinged here. Okay, get ready for this. First question: we'll get more V and Lizzie moments. You bet your bottom dollar we will. 2: will Jay and Tessa get moments like in a flashback or hologram? As of now, possibly. I don't have anything necessarily figured out where we get to like see more of their interactions. That's something that a lot of other fan works already do. And I think they do a perfect job of it, almost borderline perfect. I think as of now, Jay and Tessa at most will get like a very brief flashback. Not going to confirm or deny anything though. It's kind of up in the air right now. I've got everything else already figured out. So I would basically have to invent a new scene that hopefully doesn't take away from the momentum of the episode itself. But we'll get more onto that in the near future. The final question: do you believe in hashtag Dad Armstrong? What the heck is hashtag Dad Armstrong? Okay, I don't see anything right now, which is good. Dad Armstrong? I'm not sure. This might be the one that breaks me. I don't even know. There's a lot to unpack with that. I don't know. I don't know. Yes, maybe. Let's move on. That's an interesting question. All right. Hopefully something a little bit more stable for the next question here. From Red Scar Nova, Kiss, Marry, Kill, NV, and Uzi. Why do you do this to me? Why do you guys do this to me? I'm over here trying to have like a professional and an encouraging podcast episode, and you come out here and you ask me a question like this. Well, you know what they say, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I guess we're going to have to kill Uzi because she's a minor. But then again, I think N and V are also minors. So I guess just kill all 3 of them. I mean, the show is called Murder Drones. So there you go. That is a joke for legal purposes. That is a joke. Please, Australian government, do not expedite me to your country just so you can jail me and burn my house down. If you know, you know. Anyway, thank you, I guess, Red Scar Nova. The next one is from the Woe Idiot 8163. What's your main inspiration for making Murder Drones Season 2? Excellent question. My main inspiration is, I mean, there's a response to this question from Orange War, Murder Drone Season 1. That is one of the main inspirations. I'm going to give you guys a first here. I'm going to blow your minds. Okay, this is 100% true. The real reason I wrote Murder Drones Season 2 is because I was trying to get out of Pokemon. Yeah. Dead serious. 100% dead serious. So you guys may remember this little thing called COVID. COVID was quite the nightmare for everybody, but it was even worse if you were a fan of Pokemon. I started collecting Pokemon in 2016, I want to say. I got back into it. Basically, while I was serving my mission, a bunch of my fellow missionaries, we would play Pokemon in our downtime, which wasn't very often. But then when all the other guys finished their missions, they didn't want to take all these Pokemon cards with them. So they dumped them on me because I was the youngest missionary. So I ended up with just boxes full of Pokemon cards of varying, qualities and rarenesses and whatnot. And over the years, I decided to make Pokemon content because it was something that I was a fan of as a kid, but never really got into it. I was more of a Bionicle kid. I was more of like a Thundercats 2011 kind of kid. But I didn't get into Pokemon. So it was something I missed out on as a kid that I got back into as an adult because I was playing the game. And then I had all these cards, and then I started a TikTok, and then I started going to conventions, and it was fun. I remember going home from work and picking up a pack of Pokemon cards on my way home and just opening it and, oh, cool, a Tyranitar, stuff like that. I wouldn't sell my cards very often. I just kept them. And then COVID happened, and suddenly I still can't find Pokemon cards anywhere except at card shops where they're charging like ridiculous premiums on packs, like charging $6-7 for a brand new set. Are you kidding me? That's criminal. Those sets should be $4.99 at most, especially if they're brand spanking new, okay? There's no demand, not in the way that people think there is. Scalping is awful. And if you're someone that uses your children as an excuse to buy up all the Pokemon cards, or you claim you run a business scalping Pokemon cards on the internet, I hope that you have a wonderful Christmas. That's all I'm going to say. And that's that. But yeah, I had been a Pokemon professor for years. It sort of ran its course, and I just didn't, my taste buds had been soured. I didn't want anything to do with Pokemon anymore. I was very, very upset. And I still kind of am very, very upset with all of it. And I can't believe you can't find Pokemon cards anywhere anymore. It's insane, guys. It's shiny cardboard. Come on. Just leave it there. I want Pokemon to go back to being just like a niche thing. I want it to go back, but it never will. That's okay. But I just wanted to do something else. And I really liked Murder Drones. The series had just ended. And I was thinking about it and was like, there's nothing that can challenge the characters now. At the end of season 1, like the only thing that ever really gave all of the characters, including Sin, a run for their money was the Sentinels. Hold on a minute. What if there was a T-Rex Sentinel? And the rest was history. I used my my art skills and yeah, I made something cool. So I hope you guys think it's cool. But that's the backstory. I was trying to get out of Pokemon. And I'm not saying I'm never going to go back. I'm never going to revisit it. But as of now, it's all about the writing, baby. It's all about the writing and the storytelling. So yeah. Next question is from Alexa-Y5G2H. If you could change one personality trait of any character, who and what will it be? Please, I am a fan, answer, and live your vids more than myself. Wow. Okay, Alexa. If I could change one personality trait, I would make, I think I would change probably Nori, and I would make her a little more confident around her husband. That's what I would do. Great question. The next one is from Stego Aqua. What are the effects of an ND of what are the effects on an MD of consuming human body parts? Well, we actually see that in the show. We, I think it's in episode 7 or 8, when we realize that we realize that N, J, and V were responsible. Like, Sin used them to wipe out the human race. And, we see that there's not much of an effect. They just kind of do it. I can only assume that the disassembly drones and Sin herself, they're the kind of robotic machines that can burn biomass, and they run off of the consuming of, I forget exactly what it's called, but it's basically like plants and animals and stuff that, for lack of a better term, is organic. They can burn organic materials specifically, and that creates fuel. That the fumes and whatnot creates fuel for them. We have actual machines that do that in real life. I can't remember what exactly they're called, but think of the Boston Dynamics dog with a giant scoop on the end of it. Those things can consume, organic tissue and run off it indefinitely. They don't need solar panels. They don't need anything else. This is a terrifying concept. But it exists. I assume that's what the drones are. So if anything, it's just them getting more fuel. Great question, though. The next one is we've got, by the way, 5 more questions, I think. 5 more questions, and then we're done. It's been a long episode. I think the longest so far, but it's a good one. So let's get right into it here. This is from Mermaid Gamer Forever. If you could change an MD episode from the original show, which one would it be and why? I've already addressed this. I wouldn't change anything. They're all great, just like this question is great. Ban Anim, an incredible artist. Please, for the love, subscribe to ban_Anim. Absolutely incredible artist. Does some of my favorite artwork for the entire show. Absolutely love it. So, Ban asks, what do you think of the following ships? NXVX Uzi and VX Lizzie. Okay. I'm going to be there's a reason that this question was saved for last, or almost last. We've got a couple more questions after this, but I'm going to be 100% real with you guys on this one. Not that I haven't been already, but especially now. The idea of a 3-way relationship may sound interesting on paper to some people, not me, but to some people, especially on the internet, it may sound like a fun idea. Realistically, and I'm speaking not from personal experience, but having seen this happen in real life to people that are close to me, in a 3-way relationship like that, there is always one person that gets left behind. There's always a third wheel, one person playing third wheel to the other two, because human beings were not meant to pair off with as many people as possible. You can't handle that mentally. And it boggles my mind that people try it. People try it every single day. You can't have a 3-way like that. Somebody always ends up getting left behind. And in this case, in the NXVX Uzi case, if this was serious and all 3 characters were on board for this kind of relationship, realistically speaking, Uzi would be the one getting left behind. 100%. Her personality differs the most from the other 2. She's known the other 2 for the least amount of time. It's just, and there's no reason to think that even if V and Uzi had some kind of thing going on between the 2 of them, it would always fall short compared to N and V. If that relationship actually happened, Uzi would get left behind and it would destroy her. I hate to burst your guys' bubbles. I'm sure there's plenty of comics out there that depict otherwise, but this is just me talking realistically here. It's avoid these. If ever the opportunity to join a relationship like this comes up, avoid it like the plague. Avoid it like it's going to give you leprosy in all the wrong places. It is awful. It will destroy you as an individual. Don't ever, never agree to be the third wheel. And it's just a competition too. It's literally a love triangle. Don't go for it, man. It's okay if you enjoy this kind of thing from a fictional point of view. If you're into some of the comics that depict this and it's all cutesy and the murder is kind of removed, that's fine. You can enjoy that. But I'm trying to give you guys a little bit of a pointer here, okay? This is awful. If you're in one of these relationships, get the heck out of it, all right? It is a breeding ground for cheating. Never, ever involve yourself in this. But that's my thoughts there. As far as VX Lizzie goes, if I can be a little goofy again for a second here, I don't see that happening in a million years. I don't think there's a single worker drone that V is attracted to in any way. I don't think V is attracted to anybody personally, especially not Lizzie. I think V and Lizzie have the Mean Girls thing going on here where they're buddies. They're like two toxic individuals that put up with one another, and they enjoy the damage that they can sow together more so than the damage they can sow individually. So that's that. I think they are genuine friends. They put up with each other. That being said, I don't think either of them would hesitate to drop the other at a moment's notice. Of course, in MD Season 2, we take the characters in a slightly different direction. We go a little more in depth on them and show that Lizzie is a little bit more than the girl that's, glued to her phone, the mean girl. So the show does that too. The first season does that. But yeah, I don't see VX Lizzie happening anytime soon. Great question though, Ban Anim. Seriously, go subscribe. The third to last question is from Master Chronicles. Is the Murder Drone story so deep? No. Great question. The second to last from this Lake2728. Why did V and Ned act like their memories were real and they were the original? How come there is another sin? Good questions here. So as far as V and Ned being the original goes, they're not the originals. All of the characters are clones. That being said, this question gives me the impression that you don't fully understand what a clone is. A clone is a copy, a one-for-one copy of somebody or something else, as if that other individual never left or went away or died or whatever it is. That's the point of cloning. You make something that is a copy of the original. Now, whether or not that clone acts exactly the way the original acts is entirely up to them. The future is never set in stone. Anything and everything can happen. There could be situations that drive these characters in a different direction. That's what happened with Ned and Jazz. They're still clones of N and J, but circumstances led them down a different path. In the case of, Ned and Jazz, Ned is what happens when V isn't there and gets raised by J, as some commenters have pointed out. And Jazz is what happens when she doesn't have a job anymore, when Jazz is unemployed J, basically. So it's the chance for Jazz is also the chance for J to choose to be more than just a corporate work dog. So there you go. How come there is another sin? Well, I'll tell you. So sin is, well, let me put it to you this way. Do you really think that sin would allow something like the cloning process, which by all accounts, it's not from J.C. Jensen, it is from Sin. Sin is the one cloning everybody. Why on earth would Sin have backups for her favorite little workhorses, her little lapdogs? Why would she have clones of them and not have backups of herself? I mean, I don't think Sin is nothing if not manipulative and someone who plans carefully. She plans ahead. That's how she's been able to wipe out the human race. That's how she was able to overcome every other challenge. The only reason she lost to Uzi and N and V is because Uzi was there. Uzi was the one piece that offset everything. Uzi not only turned N and V against her, Uzi has her power and she uses it well. And she may not be as powerful as Sin, but Uzi she's just better. She's better. She thinks better. Anyway, that's my opinion there. Of course, Sin, in my mind, it just makes sense. Of course, Sin would have a clone or maybe several clones of herself ready to go in the event that she is defeated and she loses her original body. Last question from @OrangeWar. How many dogs do you have? As many dogs as I need. Thank you everyone who commented on this video. I had a lot of fun answering these questions. I hope you enjoyed listening to my responses. Please continue to ask me questions in every comment section I have on my videos. Ask questions on this video. I hope to see you all again in the next episode. And as a little sneak peek for getting this far, in MD Season 2, Episode 7, we're going to get a very important moment that may or may not involve a certain special sentinel. A sentinel which you guys are all familiar with, whose favorite color is arguably red. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye for now.